Hello everyone, GM Atank here. Today we're going to be making barrels for your bases. Painting with commentary video of Paint to Life, a new series where we cover certain things that we make in our Paint to Life videos that we don't get to talk about all that much. So let's get started. We're going to need some cardboard. There are different sizes of cardboard out there. That's called the flute. You can see this graphic that I've put on the screen here. These are the different types of cardboards that you'll find out and about. You're going to want the E flute size. If you're making 28mm miniature scale, E is perfect for the boards and that we're trying to create in the effect. So if you get anything thicker, a cardboard box for example, it might be too much. So make sure you have that nice, real thin flute that you're working with. Next, we're going to cut a rectangle out of our cardboard about a ruler in width. That will be the height of the barrel. Now we're going to pencil a line between all of the individual flutes. You can see on the screen there I've marked them in red. Those gaps in the corrugate is where we're going to be cutting. They will be the eventual boards that make up our barrel. So using a knife, we're going to cut this rectangle to give us some square edges. Next, we're going to make a mark about 1 millimeter down on each side. This is going to be used later as a guideline and help us round the top of our barrel. Now we're gently slicing through the top layer only. We don't want to go all the way through and cut the thing. We just want to cut that top layer of paper on the cardboard, each one of those being a board on our barrel. Okay, now we use the ruler and push down on that mark we made, press hard and fold it up. That'll give us some fold line that we can use later to give a nice roll at the top of the barrel. So now that I've got all those cuts made, I'm rolling the cardboard out just to break all the paper and make sure that each of those individual lines is free and clear and rolls nicely. Now we want to determine what diameter of barrel we want. The width of the cardboard will determine that when it's rolled up. So if you're making a bathtub or if you're making a keg, you'll want a wider width of rectangle. But if you're making a barrel, I usually keep it to about inch and a half. Next, I cut a little teeny piece and glue it on the inside of the cardboard because that's going to be our fastener. It acts as a connector once we put this whole thing together. That way there's no unsightly glue mark on the outside. So see, it's glued on and you can roll it and then glue it from the other side, and now you have a single piece with no glue marks. And that's kind of what we're going through here. Put it on your finger to form it while the glue is drying, and that's when you'll get a nice looking outside. Next, grab a little square and cut one out that will cover the whole of your barrel, and then you're going to just kind of stencil it and just keep trimming, trim. Try to round it as best you can. I tried to thumb it, that doesn't work very well, whatever the hell I was just doing there. Just keep taking little nips of it off at a time, little bites, and then try it, fiddle with it until it fits inside. You want this to rest inside the barrel, maybe about 1 millimeter, 1/8 of an inch, just so that it gives the illusion of a top that's on. You could glue it flat on the top of the barrel, but I don't think many barrels are like that. I think most of them have like a flanged or lip on the inside. So again, I like to put it on my finger like I'm doing in that video there to help, especially the first side. It's great. And see, I've got it, it's fitting, it looks good, I get it at a good depth. So once she fits, airdrop some hot and ready glue in that hole. Just and use the bottom of an old paintbrush to push it around and make sure that it is good and covered, and give it a few seconds to dry, and that will be done. That's one and done. Absolutely. Time to move on to the second. Repeat for the other side. Again, I cut a square, I trim it. Now, admittedly, the second side is harder because you can't put your finger on it the way you did the first time. So it will be a bit of a finicky thing. I was just thinking in the editing process of this video of cutting this part down, but I've decided to leave it. It pads the video a little bit, I know, but I want you to see that even though this is sped up camera, this is a tricky process. So if you're struggling with it yourself, don't give up. This barrel making process is something that the more barrels you make, the better you'll get at it. I've only made maybe 15 so far. But as you see, even me who's done 15, I'm, pushing, oh, and it popped, dang, and I can't get it out now, so I see I'm trying to fish it out, get some tweezers, bloop, got my CIDLE line remover. So again, but once you get it the right size, a little bit of hot glue, and then just any type of tool that'll let you nestle it down on that blob of glue, just go slow, be patient, and you'll get the hang of it. Now when you do get it in there, squeeze the edge like I'm doing there. Squeeze that, we pre-folded that edge so it gives the edge a kind of top tapered look to the barrel. So now this is cardstock. Just get any kind of Bristol board or hard paper. You don't want to use regular paper. It's too, it doesn't paint well. Paint it to your taste. So if you're doing silver bands or rusty bands, as you can see, this was blue. I just painted this, I think, with an Eshin gray. And the idea here is this is going to be the band that goes around the barrel. Also on that fold line we made earlier. So while we wait for those bands to dry, let's paint our barrel and our dry brush to taste. And what I mean by to taste is if you want dark brown barrels, black barrels, white barrels, it's your choice. In this particular example, I was using a light wood like an oak. So this is the color that I chose. I think it was Rakarth Flesh. And a little bit of a dry brush with a Terminus Stone, I think. Either way, now we're going to apply glue lines for the bands. So put that glue all the way around, and now comes the messy part. That will drive you crazy. Pre-roll your bands so they're nice and curly. Wrap it around there. The glue's going to get all your fingers sticky. Your paint will come off the band. It's okay, you can fix it later. Fight with the damn sticky process, but remember it dries clear. So don't worry. Just hold it, for 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, as long as it takes for that band, for that glue to set a little. Put a little more glue on top, rub it in with your fingers like I did there. Make sure the bands are straight. And they will harden and it get easier to use as they start to dry. And then we're going to shade to taste. I use a little bit of Agrax Earth Shade on this barrel. You can see just to cut some of that hard dry brushing down and add some definition to the splits in the cardboard, kind of give it like a wood grain effect. So you can never really overshade this. But there you go. That's one barrel done, and you're a barrel making machine. Here's some examples of my barrels. One other thing I'm going to say while these come up on the screen. You can also put like a little washer or a nut inside that barrel if you want it to be heavy. If you're going to be using it as a cover or train for your tabletop, put a little washer or a nut inside, glue it in with hot glue, and then that way they won't tip over so easy, because admittedly a finished barrel is very light and waferly. Waferly? That's not a word. Wafery? That's not a word. Some kind of word. It's very blow away easily. See that? I'm a thesaurus today. Nevertheless, if you glue a little washer or nut inside, they'll lock right down, and then you don't have to worry about it. So you can see here I've got some, I've put up on the screen some pictures of Arbogast and Diablo and the barrels that I used in their examples. So, like always, please like, share, and comment in the bottom below if you have any questions. If you want to help support the channel, I really appreciate it. And thank you for taking the time to watch this. I hope it helped you. And we'll talk to you again. This is GM Atank signing off.